It sounds so peaceful. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There we go. Ricky, tell me...
Losing his sister, the breakdown of his relationship with his dad, who turned out not to be his dad, the failed marriages, and the difficult time he's had with his own children.
Thought it'd be good to get away and do this in her memory. It's in memory of my sister, Cheryl. Something that I'm sure if she was around today, she'd like to be doing.
Is there a moment, is there a day in your life these days when that isn't dominated by what happened all that time ago?
Oh, sure. I mean, thank God there's times that you do forget. But coming here, I thought it would be a continuation of the help that I've been receiving from various people over the last 4 years, but it's been a bit the other way. I've sort of gone backwards, I think, a bit. Still that blame, that could I have done something different that day. And I'm just angry. Unbelievable anger. But, yeah.
Throughout this series, our question has been, what happened to Cheryl? But the thing for me is also, what has happened to Ricky? And what will happen to him if this is never resolved?
I just thought because I was the little girl with the blonde hair and the blue eyes, I just felt as if though I reminded him of her. The fact that she's not here anymore, I just felt like it should have been her. And that's something that I had to struggle with in my life because my dad was never in mine. And I just felt like it was just guilt, I don't know. And that's what I brought to the table for him. That's how I felt. So I didn't see much of my dad growing up, unfortunately.
Melanie is Ricky's daughter. When she was born, he was only 19 and struggling to deal with what had happened to Cheryl. Now, over the decades, Ricky and Melanie didn't have much contact until 2016.
It was the day of the press conference that they had down at the beach where Brad Ainsworth was speaking.
Good morning. Thank you, everybody, for attending here this morning. Police from the Wollongong Local Area Command and the Unsolved Homicide Unit have been conducting a review.
It was the moment when the police went back to the changing rooms to announce they were reopening the case, when Ricky first appeared in front of the cameras. You were there. You actually turned up and...
I was there.
On the 12th of January,
I stood at the front of the surf club, but I kind of stood away from the family.
That's why we're here today, to appeal for anyone...
I wasn't actually talking to Dad. He did write me a message and I just kind of left it. I didn't tell him whether I was going or not, and then I decided to go. And yeah, that was kind of the turning point, I guess.
Heartache. Decisions got made on the day were wrong.
That day, I just saw him different. I saw him raw, I guess you could say. And that's not something I'd seen before. Like, he was just completely different. I seen someone broken.
What did you say? What did you do?
And he'd always hid that from everybody.
All my life. I just want over with.
I don't know, I guess I kind of felt bad for him.
Everybody says it wasn't your fault. Come and stand where I'm standing. See what it feels like.
I always knew why he was the person he was. I wasn't sheltered from anything, so I understood why I guess I didn't really have my dad.
It's cost me my family and everything.
I seen him in a different way, I guess. You know, crying and the tears and just how it affected him. I'd never seen that before. That afternoon, we just hugged on the beach, I guess, and things kind of went from there.
Thank you, everybody, for attending. As you can see, it's very, very emotional for the family. We thank them.
And now?
Now he makes an effort. He makes an effort with the kids to call, to message daily. It's just completely different. He's actually trying. And I commend him for that. Like, everybody has the right to change. It took him 50 years, but everyone has the right. So better late than never.
I'm John Kay, and from BBC Radio 4, this is Fairy Meadow, Episode 8, The Girl with Blonde Hair and Blue Eyes.
Mel, come on in. Yep, let your mum sit down there. You come here, sweetie.
It's January 2020, and Melanie's been at Ricky's side throughout the last 4 years.
Yeah, I'll sit in here. Come on, just sit here.
It's now the 50th anniversary of Cheryl's disappearance, and the whole family have come together for a dinner. Ricky, the man who blamed himself for decades, who cut himself off, is back at the heart of things.
My beautiful grandkids, Ethan, Mia, Olivia, Tristan. You're beautiful. Except Mia, when you call me Ricky. I'm Granddad, sadly. Frank, I'd like you to, if you don't mind, jump up and say a few words.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for being here. For those who haven't met me or don't know me, I'm a retired detective senior constable Frank McCarthy. 1970, 12th of January. It changed my life then, and it dramatically changed my life for the last couple of years.
Frank is on the top table next to Ricky, and projected onto the wall above them is that last photo of Cheryl, smiling on Fairy Meadow Beach.
Thank you for putting up with me, and God bless.
Let's get rid of this mic, it's driving me nuts.
Yeah, I've got to let go sooner or later, but just the injustice, how the family's been treated. I believe things could have been done a lot better, police-wise, in the courts.
Is this case now closed? Is there no chance?
According to the courts, it looks like it. There might be still some legal arguments we could have. For the family, it'll never be closed. For me, it's never closed. And we'll try to fight the law and get the law changed.
And for you as a lifelong police officer to say, we're going to try and fight the law.
Yeah. We'll see.
Did you ever think you'd be in that position?
No, I never thought I'd be here right now talking to you. I dream of Cheryl sometimes. She comes into my dreams. She's standing at that beach and just holding her hand out. And I'm not saying nothing, just holding her hand out. And that's how I see her. It's hard to let go. I know I have to sooner or later for my own well-being. I don't know how Ricky's dealt with it, and I'm not even part of the family. I feel part of the family now. I don't know how the family's dealt with it. It's going to be hard, very hard.
The next morning, the 12th of January 2020. And for the first time since the court case was dropped, the police have called a news conference, using this occasion to make a new appeal.
Today, on the 50th anniversary of Cheryl's disappearance, I can announce the New South Wales Government is increasing the reward to $1 million for information will lead to the arrest and conviction of those responsible for Cheryl's disappearance. So now's the time to come forward. Now's the time not to hold back. Now's the time, if you've been holding a secret and you think you might be protecting someone, or you have information that you may not think is important, please come forward. It's important to the family, it's important to the community. You don't know what may be of interest to the investigation. It may lead to fresh lines of inquiry.
Can I just ask, John Kay from BBC News in the UK. Obviously the family have described so many disappointments over so many decades now.
Yeah.
What can you say to reassure them that this won't be another disappointment?
Look, the reason we're here is to get fresh information, so we may be able to get some resolution for the family. You can see how impacted this is on their life and the greater community as well. Not only here in Australia, but also in the UK. $1 million is a lot of money, but you can't put a price on a life, and you can't put a price on justice. We are working as hard as we can to try and get some answers for the family.
The case against one man was dropped last year. Does that man remain a suspect in this case?
I'm not going to talk about any one person, because I think it's important that there's been a number of persons of interest in the last 50 years. You've got to remember that. You've got to keep an open mind and be very objective rather than concentrating on one person.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks everyone. Appreciate it.
I'm going to catch up with the Grimmer family again a bit later as they mark this anniversary. But before I do, there is somebody else I just want to go and see. Someone I've been trying to track down for a while. Because when you look back at the news footage from this day in 1970, the person who was coordinating the search for Cheryl was a woman called Helen Coote. At the time, she was the only female zone commander in the Australian Civil Defence Force. And she also had the job of looking after Cheryl's mum, Carol, in those first few days. Well, Helen is in her 80s now, and she's just moved into a care home up here in the hills, overlooking the beach. And she said I can pop in and show her some of these archive reports.
Mrs. Coote, is there anything you might like to say here that might help in the search for Cheryl?
Yes, in conjunction with the police, I would like to appeal to anybody who is in the Fairy Meadow area, the Fairy Meadow Beach. We're now desperate and we need this information. Somebody must have seen something.
My first thought, and I'm only going by memory now, was that it had been a childless couple that had seen her. Don't ask me why I thought that. But when we were talking to the parents, they indicated that they felt the same way. Nobody saw anything. The brothers saw nothing. There was a lot of people there.
I believe that Mrs. Grimmer is not seeing anyone. She's under sedation, in fact. Have you been able to speak to her?
Yes, I spoke to Mrs. Grimmer this morning. She's bearing up as well as could be expected. She didn't sleep at all last night, and we have taken her away from the area here where she can rest in peace and quiet without being disturbed.
And she was a very young mum. But it was consoling her and assuring her that every possible lead was being followed. There's not much more you can do under those circumstances. You can't give them false hope.
And you were satisfied at the time that you'd searched everywhere, that you were confident?
We were confident that the whole area had been covered.
And for you, professionally, but also as a mum who'd got to know the Grimmers, that must have been tough to say, she's not here, we can't find her.
It was very tough. Very, very hard. to have to go to them and say, there's nothing more we can do. But they were so young parents, and so new to Australia. And well, it's something that never leaves you. The heartache and the sorrow of that family. I don't think, with all the work that we did, that I've ever struck anything that was so poignant.
It stays with you.
Yes. Yes.
Thanks for coming. Thanks for coming. All right.
Can I get everybody to sort of fill up the whole road? So off the side, we go this way. We'll just do it really quickly.
Okay, let's get this photo.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah. I'll let the car go, obviously.
On a hill above the beach, there's a sea of blue.
All right, we need some action at the back. Otherwise, it's not
The
going
Grimmer family and their friends are gathering, dressed in Cheryl's favourite colour, the colour of her swimming costume on the day she vanished. There must be 200 people here, and they're going to walk down to Fairy Meadow together. Some of Ricky's old schoolmates have turned up.
What brought you down here today?
Because of you.
Ah, okay.
Because we saw it on the news. Yeah.
Ricky's brother Paul has flown down from Brisbane with his wife Linda, their 5 daughters and 3 grandchildren.
Have a look behind me. Look at all the people. It's fantastic. It is a sad day, but in another way, it's a good day. And it would mean a lot to my parents. Mum and Dad will be up there now looking and thinking, thank you. Thank you to everyone.
It's for Cheryl and for Nana and Grandad. It's very important, but it is hard. You just got to be strong and stick together.
How's it affected your life, this case? I mean, it happened years before you were even born.
Yeah, we weren't even in the picture. I think it's that we've just had pretty much helicopter parents. They're always there, making sure head counts, making sure everyone's there, making sure we're all together, we're all okay. And I think we've been able to be kids, but not be kids, though. I think people haven't had what we have had to us happen to them, so that's why we see it differently. Scary. I don't like the beach, but we've started taking him there because he's asked.
You don't like the beach?
Yeah, no. Scary.
Beautiful.
3, 2, 1. This walk not only celebrates Cheryl's short life, it is also about leveraging support from all of these people that have been touched by her story as the family continues to fight for justice and answers. Go again.
Go again. Yeah, we'll go again. Sorry, man.
It's quite a crowd that's turned out today. At the front, Paul and his friends and family, who are walking with Ricky's daughter Melanie. And Frank's here, Frank Sambatali. I've seen him chatting and walking with Phil Findlay, the detective who typed up the confession all those years ago. He's driven down from Sydney. As for Ricky, he's right at the back, with his head down, wanting to be on his own. It reminds me of some of those moments when I was with him on the Camino in Spain. And today is a huge day for him. He's thought about it and planned it for ages, and now he's almost there.
Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Gordon Brackery. I'm the Lord Mayor of Wollongong, and in lots of ways I consider it a great honour to be included in this ceremony today to acknowledge a tragic incident that occurred some 50 years ago. So we come back to this location today to unveil this plaque.
Everyone comes to a stop right next to the changing rooms and the water bubbler, in the shade of a twisted old tree overlooking the beach.
So, without further ado, I have asked the boys to stand with me as we unveil this plaque.
The brothers pull back a blue sheet to reveal a steel pedestal, and there are pictures on the top of Cheryl with her mum and dad.
And now I'd like to hand over to Ricky. You want to say a few words, mate?
I'll get there. Just like to thank the Lord Mayor, council members, everybody that's here today, everybody that took part in the walk. To be honest, I wish none of us were here, or at least enjoying the beautiful beach behind us. A lot of blue. A lot of blue. As the Lord Mayor said, there was $1 million reward offered today by the police, by the New South Wales State Government. I hope someday soon they're paying that $1 million and we have results. What can I say? I look at my little granddaughter sitting at the front there. Cheryl wasn't much bigger. I just wish that day I reached in and pulled her out and let her scream and carry on. I didn't. It's just, but it's not about that today. It's about trying to celebrate this beautiful little girl, our sister. Thank you all for coming today. Don't let this sadness stop you from coming from this beautiful beach. It is a beautiful beach. My son-in-law is a lifeguard here, so I'm sure he'll look after your kids well. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, everyone.
That was 2020. A couple of days later, I came back to the UK, and then the pandemic happened. And since then, well, the police investigation is still open, and that $1 million reward remains unclaimed. And as for Ricky, well, I haven't been able to see him, of course, but we're in regular contact, probably always will be. And you won't be surprised to hear that even in lockdown, he's been busy, campaigning, talking to lawyers, trying to see what options might be open to him. And the last time we spoke, well, he was back at Fairy Meadow.
I'm just standing right in front of the plaque with my daughter Melanie, and it's a pretty overcast day actually. I think we'll get a bit of rain, so it's a bit of a cooler day for a change. It's been pretty hot out here.
Yeah, hi Melanie.
Hi, how you going?
I'm good, thank you. I mean, I think it's like 5 years, 6 years or something since you and I first met in Bristol and had a coffee, and you talked to me about your story, and I said I'd like to try and help you tell it. I just wonder now, where do you think you are with this today?
Another year, no answers. No one seems to be doing too much to try and get to the bottom of what happened to Cheryl. I mean, unless I contact police, they don't contact me. I get sort of no updates, and you just get frustrated.
Yeah.
I don't know, I'm lost, John. I'm lost. And I think until we get some closure, I don't think I'm ever going to feel whole. I don't think my life will ever be normal. It's never been normal. But at least, I can kind of move on.
I noticed you said until we get closure.
Yeah.
Not unless we get closure, but until we get closure. Like you think it will happen.
Well, I'm hopeful. I'm trying to keep things alive, spirit of my nan, my granddad, because they'd be saying, fight, keep fighting. They wouldn't be giving up.
You know what, just while you're speaking there, I was reminded of when I met some of your cousins, I guess, very, very early on in my research here in the UK, in Bristol.
Yeah.
And one of them said to me, we just keep going because it's the grimmer way.
Yeah.
And that's really stuck in my mind, that phrase, the grimmer way, all the way through the last few years dealing with you guys.
Yeah.
What is the grimmer way?
You just keep pushing forward. Keep loving your kids. Never giving up. You know, you pick yourself up, you dust yourself off, and tomorrow is always a new day. And I say it to everybody that I know. If they're ever having a bad day, tomorrow is a brand new day. You get up, you're thankful that you're alive, and start fresh.